Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live at the Friends Climber in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, you can do so on MySpace, where I have a page. Right now, it's a little bit after 12 o'clock on a windy, cold, snowy afternoon here in Mountain Village, Colorado. This here is a creation of mine, or a concept pitch, about something I call Homeless City. This is a concept that, if made into a reality, would exist hopefully in every major city across America, and even throughout the world, I would hope. Let me explain to you what Homeless City is. It's basically a place for people who are truly homeless to go to where they can get back on their feet. It's a place where you can get these homeless people out of the downtown areas. You can get them out of the malls. You can get them out of the parks, and a place where they can go to get help. And it's a place for those who truly want help and those who need help. I've had a lot of experience with homeless people, especially when I lived in Vegas and Denver. And unfortunately, I found a lot of homeless people to be people who just don't want to work. Some, though, are mentally ill, some are alcoholics. And despite all that, they still need to be helped if they're willing to be helped, or willing to allow someone to help them. But the fact of the matter is, we have to stop throwing our homeless people out in the cold and leaving them out there like they're nothing but trash. They are human beings. And they need help, and sometimes they need to be pushed a little bit so they can be given some help. I don't believe in forced help, but there are a number of homeless people who want to get back into society. They want to get back on their feet. They want to have a roof over their head. They want a job. They want a decent meal, and they want a nice place to live. But sometimes, they get into a situation they can't get out of, and they end up homeless. And those are the people I'm going after. But again, some homeless people, you can't help them. They just don't want any help, and I've had plenty of experience with that when I lived in Vegas. I try to take some homeless people down into a temporary service to get a job, and when I go back to work that night on the Strip, all of a sudden there they are again. What happened? I'd ask them, and oh well, I just didn't like the job. Well, they never even took the job. They never even went out. I don't know what it is. And some of these were sane people. They were not mentally ill. But you can't help people unless they want to be helped. That's just the way it is. So anyway, I still believe that every major city in America needs its own homeless city. And this is where homeless people are kind of pushed into to get out of the main areas of a city, where they become a nuisance sometimes. And can sometimes become dangerous. Here's what this homeless city would have if it were up to me. They would have a small sleeping quarters for the homeless. There's not this little cot here and a cot there. This has to be a place that's a little bit closed in, where you can at least have some dignity and a little bit of privacy. They would have employment offices there. Every homeless person comes on there that is able or considered to be capable of working will have to see an employer, and they'll work on helping that unemployed or that homeless person find work. There may be possible military recruiters on there. Some homeless people are, in their 20s, sometimes they're in the late teens. They're not drug addicts. They're not alcoholics. And sometimes maybe the best place for them is the military. So why not get them out of there? Get them, and if they can get through boot camp or basic training, they might have a life for the next 4 years. At least they'll have a roof over their head, they'll have a job, they'll have food, and they'll have a purpose in life. And they can get training so that when they get out, they can go find work. And and the Air Force can give them the skills that they need, or the Navy, Marines, or Army. Of course, in this place here, there needs to be bathrooms, showers. There needs to be a cafeteria. It's not kind of like a military cafeteria, where they can get food. There will be nurses and medics that work there, and you never know, some of these homeless people might go on to become medics and nurses themselves, come back and work there. There would be lockers. There would be shuttles, free shuttles, to get homeless people back and forth to a job. If they find one, they are able to get one, or if they need to go somewhere, you got to have shuttles. There would be psychiatrists or psychologists there on to evaluate the homeless people that do have mental problems. There would be tech school recruiters there to take a look at some of these homeless people and see if they are capable of attending a class if they want to. The government would probably have to pay, would obviously have to pay for their education. but it's a tech school. It's a way for them to get a skill within a 9-month to 2-year period. And with all that there, where these homeless people can take showers, they can get food, have lockers and things like that, they could actually live there in Homeless City for a while until they can get back on their feet. So they can attend school. So if they go to, so let's say they do go to this Votech school. Well, maybe they can, how can I put it? They can go to class clean. Let's just put it to you that way. They don't have to go in there with dirty clothes and stuff like that because they're not going to be allowed in anyway. And they go in there with some dignity. Because at Homeless City, there would also be an address. It would have to be a post office box address because you don't want to put on an envelope, you know, I'm at Homeless City, post office box so-and-so, like that. You know, that's degrading and demeaning to people like that. So that's another thing that this Homeless City could provide is a post office box for some of these homeless people. And sometimes they can get a check that way from home or something. Anything. If having a means to get mail is so important. But as I just said, if they go to a Votech school or to a job somewhere, you know, this is until they can get back on their feet. You know, this isn't a permanent place for them to live, for anyone to live. All the stuff that's there will make it possible for them to go out into the workforce or the school with dignity, with some self-respect, hope, and without being humiliated. And that's very, very important because, you know, that's what gets you going. But who wants to go to work when everybody knows you're living in some, you know, you're a homeless person? It's humiliating sometimes. Or you go to school to learn a trade, you know, and you just feel like garbage because you're homeless, you know, and you're around all these students, some of them who are maybe come from good families or wealthy families, and you know you're just trying to make it, just barely surviving. It can be demeaning, and sometimes other students can be demeaning to such people. But anyway, there would be like a Salvation Army type store there for homeless people to get their clothes. Low cost grocery store. You know, their food will be free until they make a little bit of money, and then they start buying things there that'd be cheaper than buying it at a major grocery store. And there would be dentists, and of course there will have to be phones. There needs to be lots of phones for people who are homeless there to call home. If they have someone they can call friends, they can call employers, things like that. I think you get the point. The point I'm trying to make is that altogether is that a homeless city is something that is needed all across America and throughout the world. It's a place where a lot of homeless people can get help that want help. It's a way to get them off our streets, get them out of these bad neighborhoods where a lot of them are easy prey to drug addicts, drug pushers, pimps, and things like that. It's not making this a reality would not be simple, and it's certainly not going to be cheap. And obviously, we're going to have to wait till our recession's over with before we could even consider doing something like that. But this should not be a federal program. This should be a state and local program. This is something that has to be run by the cities and the states. It actually be a state, city coming together to put these things together. They're the ones that are best qualified to do that. You don't want the federal government involved in this because they'll just screw it up. They don't do very much well anyway. But we can do things to help our homeless people in America. But remember what I said at the beginning. There are a lot of homeless people who don't want help. There's a lot of them that no matter what you do for them, they don't want it. They're not going to work. They're not going to, I don't know what it is. It's just they don't want to be off the street. It seems like they like being there. But there's also a lot that want off the street. And this is one way to get them on their feet to those who really want the help. I have to stop here. And I thank you for your time, and I hope you, like my idea, you'll pitch it to your congressional representative, and hopefully one day it will become a reality. But it would be better if it's under the control of the state and cities, not the federal government. Thank you for your time.